Hi Chomi, my name is Vuvu. If you are new on here, please consider pressing that red subscribe button down below and joining the family if you're an oldie and member of the fam bam. Welcome back fam, and thank you for joining me once again. On today's video, we are having thoughts, sharing some thoughts on the second installment of the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Africa. The second part of the reunion is what we're talking about. So if you're keen to hear my thoughts on that, please do stay tuned. Well. If it wasn't part 2, okay? If it wasn't part 2, I didn't get a chance to watch it when it came out. So this is why I'm late to the party. But if it wasn't part 2, you know what, for me personally, let me just tackle the idea of a part 2 to begin with. I don't see what we're doing here. I don't see why these reunions cannot be one part. I don't know if it's done on purpose or if it's an editing issue or if it's wanting to retain audience issue. And if you are wanting to retain audience, do you actually retain audience when you have 2 parts and then maybe midway during part 2 excuse me, let me get some water, and then maybe midway during part 2 you realize that the retention is not as great, as in it wasn't worth doing a whole production with 2 parts. Anyway, let me not ramble. So I have questions about these 2-part situations. Once again, yes, I was very annoyed by Mable, and I think I need to reiterate that if he's got this lifetime contract, I don't have a problem with it. I just feel like he needs to give us a little bit more, and it's not even about whether or not he's biased, etc. I just feel like he needs to do the follow-up thing, right? Because I still feel like he's got a list of questions on his iPad, and he is more focused on going through those questions as opposed to following up on what is actually happening on stage at that point in time, and maybe even neglecting the questions altogether depending on what show is actually being put on right now, because from our side we want the show to go on. Okay, I think that's all I'll say about my play, because I do feel like that in the second part he really frustrated me a few times. I want to talk to each and every one of these characters before I give you my overall thoughts. Let's start with the elephant in the room, Miss Crystal. Okay, far be it for me to say that Crystal is not racist, and the reason why I'm saying that I can't say it with my chest with certainty is that there are certain parts of the show that were not shown to us, as well as the fact that I don't know if you can provoke the worst out of people and then turn around to shame them, if you hear what I'm trying to say. So I do want to say that some of the ladies in the show did provoke Crystal, and I'm not saying she doesn't provoke people. So okay, let me say this part. I feel like she was provoked, and she was provoked to a point where she did come out and speak out of turn, right? So for me, I would like to have heard the conversations that Jojo claims to have had with Crystal in isolation, because for example, I do feel like some things are being stretched to fit a narrative, like when Dr. C said yeah, and then you say Jojo's gone to the dark side. I mean, when she wasn't talking about complexion when she said she went to the dark side. She was talking about the fact that she has now abandoned Crystal and has picked a side, and it's a dark side for Crystal because it's not her allies. I don't know if you hear what I'm trying to say. So I do feel like some things are being stretched to mean things that they are not. And even with the clip of you guys, this woman never said you guys. We watched the clip again and again, and at no point does she say you guys. And even if she does, I've heard Jokoko saying you guys a few times. I've heard Miriam herself during the second part of the reunion saying you guys. So I feel like if it's an issue, it's an issue. But if it's an issue, then it's an issue. Do you get what I'm trying to say? It's either you're trying to make something out of nothing, or it's really something. Okay, so that whole Crystal narrative and how even Blair was diffusing this situations really frustrated me. I was almost the audience member that really tapped out of episode 2 of the reunion, or part 2 of the reunion, because of that. Now back to Crystal herself. Crystal is a rage baiter, which is very, very annoying, right? However, she also does speak sense and she defends herself pretty well. And I do think that even if the ladies will not admit, at some point it was a gang up on Crystal's show. Was she right at all times? Sorry, I was watching something over there. Was she right at all times in how she navigated the conflicts in this situation? No, she wasn't. Did she come in there preempting that people are not gonna like her? She definitely did. So it means she was already on a defensive. And did people play on her weakness, as knowing that she had instances in past shows? They definitely did. I do not buy it one bit that these ladies did not watch any of Crystal's shows. I refuse to believe it. So I do believe that she could have shown up better, and so could have the other ladies. They all could have. And the thing is, it's so easy to defend one person against 5, if you hear what I mean. If 5 of you are ganging up against one person, obviously if there's gonna be some kind of campaign or people trying to defend the situation, they are always going to defend the one, until we all get perspective. And I'm telling you now, the proper perspective for all of these things is that you are all wrong, and I don't think that you guys are ready to accept that. The Crystal party and the non-Crystal, or Crystal, because I think on her side is Madame and Dr. C, and Madame's always ready to tell Crystal that she's wrong. So Crystal is wrong, and everybody else who's ganging up against Crystal is wrong. And whether it's because of principle, whether it's because of approach, whether it's because of lies, ni wrongo. Ni wrong. Absolutely nowhere are we going to defend you guys saying things that we did not see and not being accountable to the things that we did see. So I said, like, no ma'am, no sir. Okay, now that that elephant is out of the way, because I think that was my biggest frustration here, let's talk about JoJo. Sorry guys, my phone keeps going off. Let me just mute it. So when it comes to JoJo, I really do think that she does not have a backbone. I don't hate the girl, I really don't, but I do think that she doesn't have a backbone. And I think that the way that she forms friendships around her trauma is something that's really concerning to me, because trauma bonding is not healthy, obviously, right? And the way that she formed her friendship with Nonku was based on trauma. The way that she's describing why she chased after Annie was based on trauma. And I think that once you have trauma bonded with her, she refuses to believe that there's anything that can come between you, that you could do no wrong because you guys have suffered the same fates, and that cannot be true. And I do actually want to almost take her out of the lab and see who she becomes on her own in a different space where it's all complete strangers. You know, the first season that she entered Real Housewives of Durban, I think there was something about her that I liked before she befriended Nonku. Right now I don't know who she is, and I think that's the thing that frustrates me. And it also comes through when she answers certain questions during this part 2 of the reunion. I really wish that I could have said that I believe her, if you hear what I'm trying to say. Even when she was talking about the things that Crystal was saying behind the camera, I really do wish that I could totally believe her. For me, to some extent, it did start feeling like she wanted to disassociate and say, I'm not that kind of white person, I suppose. And for me, there's a different way to doing that can also drive the point home. I hope you hear what I'm trying to say. So for me, even everything else that she then came out to say during the show, I was already holding my breath whenever it was her turn. I loved Evodia so much during this whole reunion. Oh, Madame will not say things or enter discussions that have nothing to do with her, unless she's really correcting, and I don't think she really wanted to correct everybody. So I absolutely remember distinctly her correction of Crystal when Crystal went off at Annie, which was absolutely disgusting. After Annie breaks down about how her breakup with her husband has been viewed in the public eye, then Crystal just throwing that weapon right back at her. I'm like, when we want to defend you sometimes, as a Crystal, we really do, but sometimes you just make it so difficult for us to say a damn thing. Okay, so I love the fact that Madame minded her own business, did her own thing, and only entered where she was needed. And that for me is also she's very aware, she's very environmentally aware, and she's very self-aware, and she knows where to spend her energy, and that is absolutely so regal. I love it so much. I love it so much. Dr. C, I think, and Madame are friends, okay, and there's nothing that they can do. They were destined to be friends. They might have had a little lovers tiff there for a minute, but I think they're fine. And I appreciate the fact that Madame could apologize for something that Dr. C didn't have to raise in public. I don't know if she did it in private, as well as that Dr. C could accept the apology and also apologize for the one thing that was the biggest issue that we saw as the public in their relationship. So there it was two mature ladies, and that's what they should have been from start to finish. Okay, so no complaints there. Zena, on the other hand, was being Zena, but like I said last time, the context of why she was the way that she was in the show really helped a lot. And I like the fact that now that she is here and she's being more active, she's able to stand up for herself where she feels like she should. And I loved what Jojo said to her. Actually, maybe that's one of my favorite things that Jojo did here, is that she did not take the time to get to know her, and I don't think a lot of them did. And she does believe that had she done that, she might have actually liked her. They could have actually gotten along, which is something that I appreciate having heard coming from her. Miriam and xoxo. As for xoxo, as for Miriam, yo guys, I mean, I understand that there is a little bit of a rift between South Africa and Nigeria, especially when it comes to issues of xenophobia, and I suppose in this instance insinuations of racism. But I really do believe that there is an approach and there is a middle ground, and I don't believe that one person can cross the entire river on their own. Okay, so I do feel like there needs to be an attitude adjustment there. Whatever they did there, they did not get to any resolution, and it doesn't feel to me like any resolution was being looked for. And they really frustrated me in their approach, completely frustrated me in their approach, and as a result they really did leave a very sour taste in my mouth. And I don't know what that achieved. I honestly do not know what that achieved at all. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm gonna group them together because this is how I feel about them. As for Angela, I think that Angela might have given Crystal a little bit more grace when she wanted to talk to her about the music thing. And I think obviously being humiliated in front of people, you are going to end up reacting a certain type of way. And I think that's what Crystal did. And in the same breath, I think Crystal should not have followed Angela. Why was she following Angela after Angela clearly stated that she does not want to convene this conversation? For me, there's a disrespect in that. There's a you'll do what I say. There is a little bit of bossiness. I don't know if it's bullying, but there is a little bit of you are not regarding what I want, and so I must do what you want when you want it because you want it. And for me, that was the biggest no. Okay, don't do that. So I understand Angela defending the fact that I keep saying she's Angel, saying no, I said I don't want to talk, so stop following me. Why would you follow a grown woman? Why would you follow them around? Why would you do that? Some of these things Crystal does call upon herself, but also I want to say that she entered a hostile environment and perhaps she did not know how to navigate it without doing weird things. Okay, so some of these things are called out of her by the environment as well. As for Annie, my heart goes out to her in terms of how truly women especially in South Africa, because this whole cheating thing is a big fat joke in South Africa, and how women carry the shame of cheating, whereas the person who should be ashamed is the person who stepped out of whatever agreement that you guys had. I really felt her pain when she was talking about how the public is discussing this issue, and honestly, I do share her sentiments. I really do hope that as women we get, and as the public in general, as society, that we get to a point where we empathize and are rational in our empathy when it comes to things like this, and be able to call out the people that are doing the wrong thing, as opposed to trying to figure out what the victims did to deserve this. So there I absolutely agreed with her. As for part 2, I don't know if I would have wanted a part 2. I don't know if this could not have been condensed into one proper part and we could have just been done with it. And am I gonna watch more of these shows? Definitely I am. But what I would like to see going forward is when we do these reunions, that whoever is hosting gives us a little bit of a more of a punch when it comes to some of the things that happen on stage, and allow some of the things that are happening on stage to actually play out, so that we can be vindicated in our opinions about these women. And I loved what my play I absolutely love what Mablay did there at the end, because we do have to be very conscious about how we participate in these dialogues online. We need to be more responsible and be cognizant of the fact that these are human beings at the end of the day. So the cyberbullying stuff was really out of the question. Whether or not what Miriam was saying about fans being paid, which I found very hard to believe is true, is besides the point. Just be mindful that we're dealing with human beings at the end of the day. Anyway, where you decide to participate online, just keep that in mind, that what you do to the next person should be and always should be something that you wouldn't mind being done. With that said, thank you so very much for watching, and until next time, I love you very much for choosing me. Bye for now.